in England. They flatly refused to...
Through the Masonic lodges of these two countries.
Yes.
So basically we see the same pattern here in Germany through the Thule, through the Vril, and maybe even other secret societies that we know nothing about, as is usually the case, because there is always a secret society in the middle of a secret society, again in the middle of another secret society. But we see the same pattern that on both sides of the ocean, and the same is the story with the Russian secret police and their secret societies, according to the book Cosmic Conspiracy by Stan Deo, and many other books about the infiltration of higher orders of beings into the security apparatus of the superpowers.
Well, they didn't come by this knowledge easily. They made annual treks from 1926 to 42 and sought to establish contact with the cave communities and persuade them to enlist the aid of these two orders. So it took them that long to establish contact and get their agreement. And I guess gradually they came to, says here, a Tibetan community was established in Germany with branches in Berlin, Munich, and Nuremberg, but only the adepts of Agartha, the servants of Lucifer, were willing to support the Nazi cause. And a little further down it says, the adepts of Agartha were known in Germany as the Society of Green Men, and strong measures were taken to keep silence about their real significance. And they were also joined by 7 members of the Green Dragon Society of Japan, and somewhere else I read there were more orders involved in this thing. They came from all over the place. And,
all over the globe.
And the SS officer candidates were studying yoga and all sorts of
fascinating story. Tell us the story about the SS men and the apples.
Yeah, there was one reference I read to the fact that this guy would be in his SS uniform sitting there at the desk studying on the significance of half an apple, contemplating to find out what it meant, which is an old Zen Buddhist exercise, of course. But
so basically the whole philosophy of the Third Reich, the Nazi Party, the elite echelon of the party, the SS and the topmost part of SS was influenced, was permeated, was basically following by the book these, how should they call it, magic philosophies.
Magic philosophy, and they refer to this particular branch of the Tibetan culture as the Black Monks.
As the Black Monks.
And I believe Hitler had a regular audience with their head astrologer, the guy they called, referred to as the man with the green glove.
Well, the Shambhala place is known to be in 2 dimensions. The material Shambhala are basically monasteries and caves where initiates, basically it's an invitation-only educational establishment, wherein the chosen ones from around the globe go there, a few people a year, not more than several people a year, to be initiated into the higher secrets of that order. But there is also a supermaterial Shambhala in the higher dimensions where these supermaterial Luciferic beings reside, according to this book here. You mentioned yesterday about Blavatsky's influence and her secret doctrine influence on the establishment of the philosophical doctrine of the Third Reich. There was a brief mentioning in...
My understanding is that Haushofer initiated Hitler into the secret doctrine, that he was quite a proponent of that.
And Blavatsky's secret doctrine.
Yes.
And according to Anthony J. Hilder, he has a friend living in Santa Monica who has on his shelf a leather-bound collected edition of the works of Blavatsky, and the edition is titled The Combined Works of Lucifer. It is also well known that late 19th and early 20th century, Blavatsky established the Lucifer Society, which later, for obvious reasons, I mean the name was too obvious, changed its name to the Lucis Trust. And these days it is the Lucis Trust that is the printing outfit of the United Nations. Talking about the how should I say, the incorporation of a chapel in every major American military establishment or a Navy ship, or even some of the universities have different chapels on their campuses. But I heard that in the United Nations there is a meditation room, so we see here a kind of a quiet movement away from this established tradition. Anyway, back to the Blavatsky's influence.
It's very curious you mentioned that, because I noticed one day when I was out at Nellis Air Force Base Hospital, I was walking down the hall and I came across a room that said meditation room, and I'm going, what the hell is that? I mean, oh, no, it couldn't be.
And we don't have to forget that the land for the United Nations and probably the money for the building was donated to the world by the Rockefeller Foundation. So we know who is pulling the strings behind the scenes. So back to the German secret societies and to the interface of these secret societies with some higher levels of alien and supermaterial beings. Can you tell us about some other sources of reference that you have encountered?
Well, the two of the most common, I guess the most information is Morning of the Magicians, was printed quite a few years ago.
This is the other way around. The Morning of the Magicians by Louis Pauwels and Jacques Bergier, if I'm correct about the pronunciation. And the other one is
Spear of Destiny.
the Spear.
The other one is called The Third Reich and the Occult, which deals with the Catharian side. Cathar, would that be the way to pronounce it? Which I believe had its origins in France and with the Teutonic Knights. I understand they had a group called the Ananurbi that traveled all around the world, digging up everything from caves in the southwestern United States to anything they could get their hands on that would give them some insight. Basically, what I gathered from my studies is that they were looking for a way to bring the Superman, the German soldier statesman, up to a level of Superman, because they wanted to interbreed with this new what do they call it? The Untermensch, the guys from out of the earth. And
Untermensch from the inner earth.
The inner earth, yeah. Whoever was better prepared, they felt, would be the one selected by the Untermensch, the Ariani, I think they refer to them as nowadays.
The Ahnenerbe was the giant German genetic research program. Up to fairly recently, I thought that this was just a simple Mendelian selection program of selecting the best-looking German brides and the most eaglish-looking SS men for arranged marriages on an assembly line through the SS machinery. But it is obviously a lot more than that, up to the point of genetic research institutes in the concentration camp doing horrific genetic experiments. About these expeditions that they did all over the world. For example, I heard that they sent many archaeological expeditions to Tibet from the German universities. I thought so far that it was pure academic interest that sent these expeditions. It's obviously a lot deeper than that. There were major philosophical and religious reasons for trying to establish contact with these supermaterial beings in Shambhala and Agartha. Anyway, the Germans went to the monasteries, brought a lot of writings, copied what they could, translated. There was a major translation effort. Some of the propulsion drives for the German saucers, particularly the spinning mercury balls, I found to be the same as ones found in ancient Indian, basically the Mahabharata sources, the Vimanas of ancient India.